Hey, knock yourself out. But like the opening illustrated, the DVDs for Star Trek were astronomical. I want to buy mine off eBay because they were unaffordable any other way. If you wanted them at all, you got them used. Because Star Trek is a cash cow, you see. And so long as the show itself is unaffected, I have no problem with that. Merchandise the hell out of it if you want, just don't affect the quality of the show. But I have a real problem with shelling out that kind of money to acquire something that says it's infantile to acquire things. That seems just a little hypocritical, don't you think? And it's not just the suits at Paramount, Viacom, whoever the hell owns Star Trek now, that are involved in this. The next episode, The Child, was hastily taken because there was a good chance that there was going to be a writer's strike. And there was. You know, it's fine that they wanted more money for their work. But again, I despise people who preach their tirade against money and then discuss how they're going to get more money for themselves. And finally, Gene himself wasn't immune to this. No, not only did he want his share of Star Trek, he wanted other people's shares too. Did you know that there are lyrics to the TOS theme song? And I don't mean the whole part. Gene wrote lyrics without the intention of ever using them for that theme song, because in so doing, he'd get a share of the royalties for the theme. A share taken out of the pocket of the actual composer, I might add. You know, ripping off a composer trying to make a living is bad enough, but then using the show to preach your Marxist agenda is just adding a whole new dimension of being a douchebag. And yet, what a perfect allegory for 20th century communism, huh? You rip off the guy who's doing the actual work, and all the while talk about communist doctrine. Kudos, Gene. Anyway, this bullshit continues to pad out the episode, with Troy trying to get our soccer mom under control. She's had a rough time. She passed out earlier when she spotted Worf, probably because it was as close as she'd ever been to a black man. Jim Bob McGillicuddy here starts pestering Crusher for some drugs, which she refuses, but not offended, he kindly pats her on the ass. He also calls Data down to help him put together a party and get him a guitar. But as expected, this silliness jackknifes into the serious plot about the science outpost. It seems that it's just gone, scooped right off the surface of the planet. Then it's right back to our fish out of water. The stockbroker figures something's up, but Jerry Lee Gunther decides to go critical mass with his local color to try to stop him. Thinks about swimming in their soup and telling them where the bear sits? The hell? Did he lift some drugs off Crusher while he was grabbing her ass? Anyway, since Picard is concerned about them making trouble, naturally he does nothing to ensure that they'll stay out of trouble, because he keeps assigning important people to look after them and then calling them away, instead of someone less important to be charged with managing them. With over 1,000 people on board, you'd think there'd be someone in charge of dealing with VIPs, but no. The stockbroker is free to roam the halls even as Yellow Alert is declared, gets on a turbolift, and is cheerfully aided by the computer in finding the captain. Oh, damn you, Turbolift Control! This was your moment to shine, and you blew it! He's quickly whisked away to the bridge and allowed out without notice, while the senior officers deal with a possibly hostile cloaked Romulan warship. And if that's not a metaphor for Windows, I don't know what is. It's not until the stockbroker finally reveals himself that anyone bothers doing anything about it, but by then the Romulans show up. Picard orders hailing frequencies, but all this does is prompt Worf to angrily tell us his backstory about Romulans killing his parents at Kittimer, which we all know the rest, led to his decision to become Batman. Picard, perhaps aware that Worf could snap him in half like a dry twig, shows the first sign of patience for anyone and politely asks him to establish the hailing frequency. We meet these two, DS9 vet Mark Alemo on the left, and what looks like a constipated Kevin Nealon on the right. The verbal banter, which moves with a speed not normally seen outside of Senate committee meetings, reveals that the Romulans suffered similar attacks in their own territory. Neither side knows who did it, so we have the most bizarre series of events. Picard suggests they cooperate in investigating this. Alemo nods his agreement to Kevin Nealon, who agrees, and then Alemo just as promptly mocks the Federation, terminates the agreement, and flies off. Honestly, I can't do this baffling scene justice. The only thing I can figure is that when Maurice grafted this ridiculous secondary plot onto the primary one, he had to cut this scene down for time, leading to this absurd 15-second alliance. We had all this build-up, then the Romulans show up, tell Picard to fuck off, and leave. I've seen cartoons with better payoff. This lets us resolve the plot with our human popsicles, leading to more of Picard spreading the Starfleet gospel. that there are now no material needs or wants, and that rather than wasting time in the challenge of gathering possessions, we seek to better ourselves. Well, I'll just close this out with an insightful bit from an episode we'll be covering in the near future, in the cards.
It's my money, Jake. If you want to bid at the auction, use your own money.
I'm human. I don't have any money.
It's not my fault your species decided to abandon currency-based economics in favor of some philosophy of self-enhancement.
Hey, watch it. There's nothing wrong with our philosophy. We work to better ourselves and the rest of humanity.
What does that mean exactly?
It means we don't need money.
Well, if you don't need money, then you certainly don't need mine.
Post-episode follow-up. Close call, but annoying character goes to Picard for being his crotchety, sanctimonious self. We have an ancient Chinese secret, huh? For the probe they describe as ancient. Final score for the neutral zone is 2 out of 10. It's like a Michael Moore documentary about paint drying, preachy and dull. Their attempt to inject new life into the series with the Romulans and the foreshadowing of the Borg fails due to its floundering for direction. The only way the Romulan part could have gotten any worse is if they deliberately played it for comedy. That closes out the first season, and it hasn't been much to fill us with confidence, has it? Saturday we'll take a look at the start of the second season.
Let's see if the Braves are on. How do you cut on this TV?
Vegeta, what does the scouter say about his power level? It's over 9,000!